is well known to us all. He has been attached to Fiji in many ways, including marriage. So without further ado, I will ask His Excellency to say a few words. Thank you.
Honorable Prime Minister of Fiji, Mr. Lesenia Garase, Mr. Lemba Garase, Mulchandji, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Kemcho, Nisambula, Salam Alaikum, or Jai Krishna. Actually, the idea of having a celebration of this kind started about a year back when I discussed with some friends of the Gujarati community that we should celebrate the achievements of people who came from India to Fiji and contributed in so many ways to its growth and development. Of the communities that came from India, the Gujarati community stand out. They came 100 years back, and they came as cobblers, tailors, artisans, with very little support, with very little money, with very little backing, and with only what they could carry on their shoulders. Today, the community is the largest contributor to the economic development of Fiji and is outstandingly represented in all sectors of the life of Fiji, whether it is education, culture, medicine. In the legal profession, I see some people here. At every level, Gujarat, as we all know, India is a mosaic of very many different parts welded into one country, very much like Fiji. Different cultures, different languages, different religions, different ethnicity, all welded into one nation, one country, like Fiji. Gujarat being one part of it. Gujarat has, in Indian history, a very long history and a tremendous heritage from Lord Krishna down to Mahatma Gandhi, the greatest Indian, the greatest Gujarati of all time. The first Gujaratis who came here 100 years back were from that very small coastal town that had given birth to Mahatma Gandhi, which is Porbandar in Gujarat. I will not take much of your time, but as part of this celebration, the government of India has sent Mr. Bhaichand Patel here. Mr. Bhaichand Patel represents Fiji, India, Gujarat, and in many ways, the world. He was born in Ba, studied in Marist in Suva. He was a very early ICCR, Indian Council of Cultural Relations, scholarship holder who went to India and studied in India. Did his commerce from a very prestigious college in Delhi, then law from Bombay, London School of Economics, and passed out from the inner courts, and for almost 40 years served the United Nations. He lives in Delhi now, but as a true Fiji born, he still hangs on to that blue Fijian passport of his after all these years outside, which is the spirit of the people of Fiji. And whether it is Ajay Singh, whether it is Mr. Bhaichand Patel, or even my wife till 2 years back was holding on to that Fiji passport. That is the beauty and the greatness of what is Fiji. We have brought from India, the Indian Council of Cultural Relations, Mr. Vinod's group, Natraj Kala Mandir, who will be performing shortly the Garba and the Dandiya, which, as you know, are the folk dance and music of Gujarat, which has its genesis in worship of Lord Krishna. So I hope you enjoy that, and thank you very much.
Gujarati.
A few words of introduction. Oh, you've already done it. Okay, fine. Whilst Mr. Bhaichand Patel is coming on stage, we have found a pair of gold earrings. If any one of you have lost your gold earring, it's with me. Come and see me at the sound area.
Honorable Prime Minister Shri Karase, Srimati Karase, my dear friend Ajay Singh, to whom I'm very grateful for the kind words you said about me, my friend Shromani, whom I've known many years in Delhi as well as in Fiji, honorable ministers, justices, your excellencies, Mr. Mulchan Bhai Patel, President of the Samaj, members of the Centenary Committee, and my dear friends and distinguished guests. I left Fiji on 7th of June, 1956, more than 50 years ago. I cannot say I've lived any length of time in Fiji since then, but I've returned to this country 22 times in the last 56 years. Many of my friends have gone abroad, who lived in Fiji, who studied with me. They've gone to Australia, New Zealand, Canada, United States, and became citizens of the countries they went to. But I, very proudly, for the last 50 years, been holding on to this document. I'm a national of Fiji, and I'm very proud of it. So when I've been asked by the Government of India to bring to you people the greetings of the people of India, and especially the people of Gujarat, where you sometimes, but more likely your forefathers and your forefathers before them came penniless, without much, and built this country. And I feel deeply honored that a government to which I do not owe any allegiance, I'm not a national of that country, that the Government of India has asked me to represent the people of their country here today. And there is a reason why they did that. I'm a product of the Indian government. I left in 1956. 1956 was very different from what it is today. Economically, we are not very well off. There are not many cars in Fiji. Not many people had much money. And if it was not for the Government of India, if the Government of India had not given me that scholarship, I would probably be selling potatoes on Waimanu Road. So I owe a debt of gratitude to the Government of India. And I'm deeply honored that they've sent me here. It's not only me. 1956 was very different. The colonies, British, French, Portuguese, other colonies. And the opportunities to study were not there. It was the foresight of people like Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru that many people, not only from Fiji, a lot of people went to study in India, a lot of doctors, engineers, teachers, and civil servants are products of universities of India, as I am. But more than that, people in Africa who didn't have the opportunity to study, they came to the universities of Delhi, Gujarat, and Bombay, and Calcutta to study. And if it is not for them, these countries would have not been able to attain their independence. And these people, and students who studied in Delhi went back to Africa as prime ministers and presidents. I did not achieve any distinction of that kind, but I served at the United Nations for 26 years. And if it was not for the Government of India scholarship, I probably would not have, I know I would not have been able to do that. So, I bring you greetings from the people of India and Gujarat. And in many ways, I'm back home again. Thank you very much.
અને હવે
Honorable Ministers and Members of Parliament, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, the hard-working members of the Gujarat Samaj of Suva, ladies and gentlemen, what a great night this is. How much history is captured here in this gathering. Gujaratis of Fiji have come together from many parts of the country to share this occasion. You are marking the centenary of the arrival in our islands of the first settlers from your community, and you celebrate an inspiring story of achievement. It tells of how a distinct group of people from India voyaged far across the oceans in search of a new life in the South Seas. They followed others from the subcontinent who had come to Fiji to work in the cane fields. The Gujaratis sought out opportunities as small traders and craftsmen. After long years of struggle and persistence, they made a permanent position for themselves in this land. Their culture and traditions added color and richness to the mixed fabric of our society. Gujarati initiative and commercial skill helped to reshape Fiji's economy. When they first set foot on Fiji soil in 1906, Virji Nasi and Chunilal Gandhi were writing the first lines of a narrative of hope. These goldsmiths from Popandar in Gujarat had already left their homeland for South Africa. Then they heard about Indian settlement in Fiji, and this is where they eventually came. Virji Nasi and Chunilal Gandhi opened the way for a gradual migration of Gujaratis. These immigrants built businesses from the sweat of their brow. They toiled as hawkers, traveling the dusty roads of the cane fields to sell their wares in the settlements and on the farms. This was business the hard way. Nothing was easy. If there was a future, it would have to be built on self-denial, savings from meager earnings, and patient determination. Some set themselves up as small jewelers, tailors, shoemakers, barbers, drapers, and laundrymen. Gujarati stores selling general merchandise became a feature of the Suva area, the towns and rural districts. These were arteries of commerce and trade, providing people with goods for their daily needs. Enterprises like this led to the birth of the multi-million-dollar corporations that have taken their place in the annals of Fiji. They have been pivotal to making our country's economy the biggest and most diversified in our part of the Pacific. That is a role they still play. In my career as a banker, I did business with many of the visionary Gujarati entrepreneurs who honored in this modern era the legacy of their forebears. Some of them are now personal friends. They took what was bequeathed to them and made it into something that would have been beyond imagination in those early years. I admire their acumen and foresight, their willingness to take a calculated risk and to adjust to change and circumstances. Their investments and continued expansion were crucial for Fiji's economic recovery after the turmoil of 1987 and 2000. The Gujarati influence in Fiji is not just defined by business. Mr. A.D. Patel was a commanding figure in the sugar industry, the law, education, and politics. He became the first leader of the opposition and campaigned vigorously for independence. Mr. Patel's thinking assisted in making possible the establishment of the University of the South Pacific and workers' welfare through the Fiji National Provident Fund. In the professions and in so many other spheres of public and community life, the Gujaratis have made an indelible impression, and they still do. I have seen at first hand the Gujarati tradition of philanthropy and social work, the willingness to help the less fortunate. The Gujarat Education Society of Fiji has an outstanding record of service to the cause of education, something that is close to my heart. As with other groups in Fiji, the Gujaratis cherish their unique culture. So you should. Cultural diversity is a badge of Fiji. It makes our country what it is. Communities like yours are part of the whole. This is a joyous occasion. I am happy to make my contribution. It takes place, however, against a national backdrop of uncertainty and unease caused by some recent actions and utterances. You all know the source of this. Some of you are suffering directly from the consequences of what is happening. The economy is hurting. People are losing their jobs, and the confidence we have worked so hard to restore in the last 6 years has taken a blow. This evening, I pledge to you and to the people of Fiji that I will do all I possibly can to put the country back on course. We must not lose the progress we have achieved. I know you will stand strong for Fiji, just as you did in 2000 and in the years since. With resolve and determination, we can, together, overcome our current problems and continue with the journey to unified nationhood. As you celebrate, you will be thinking of those pioneers who made the first steps on the Gujarati journey in Fiji. Honor their memory. You have come far from those days of struggle and sacrifice in the country that is now your homeland. If your ancestors could be present tonight, they would say, "Well done." And that is what I say to you on behalf of the government and people of Fiji. Please accept my sincere congratulations and thanks, and may God bless you, and may God bless Fiji. Nagabaleo.